You're weird.
He is weird, but cute.
Gross.
Mary Anderson,
Yes.
I have a warrant for your arrest.
Arrest for what?
Penal Code 243 violation. Unlawful termination of a pregnancy.
You gotta be kidding me.
That is my personal business.
That's for the courts to decide, ma'am. Your medical records have been subpoenaed, and Dr. Landry's already in custody.
No, my God, you can't just.
And you will have to submit to a physical examination.
What? By who?
No one's touching me.
Sir, get that! Ma'am, turn around!
Oh my God.
Put your hands behind your back, now!
Why is this happening? Love you, honey bear.
We're just enforcing the law here.
Elections have consequences. Vote Democrat on November 8th. Stop Republicans from criminalizing abortion everywhere. Protect women's rights and freedom. Please don't do this. Please.
Well, personally, I couldn't think of a better ad in support of pro-choice candidates than that one right there, folks. Welcome to the show. My name is Stuart Davis. I'm a flawed man of God. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar, haven't been to seminary. Not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, the Bible, Christianity, give you what insights I have from my 39 years as a non-denominational Protestant. I don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination, just in the word every day. So if you are curious and interested in learning more about Jesus, if they think that there is more out there than just this existence here on earth, welcome to the program. I'm glad you're here. I'd like for you to stay. Please use whatever insights you can get from me. Hopefully it will be a springboard to a relationship with God and a dive into Christianity. If you are here because you are already a Christian, but you enjoy Christian commentary, Christian discussions, just various talk on the different topics, and I have with a Christian spin on it, welcome as well. Glad you are here. Whoever you are, the chat is open and welcoming to you. I encourage you to go there. It is a very good group of folks. We treat this mostly like a small group, a Wednesday night study group, a Wednesday night study group, or a Sunday school. Just a group of folks together and just talking about things. And Porcupine Mayhem, you are in first to the chat. This opened up quiet for a Tuesday. Blaine's here. Blaine is here. Do I need to play the advertisement again? Are we in need to do that? Or was the first, is once sufficient? Is once sufficient? Yeah, there was an ad on look, we'll talk about it right here. Bring it back up. Replay. All right, we want some replays.
You're weird.
He is weird, but cute.
So cute.
Gross.
It's a cute baby. It is a cute baby.
Mary Anderson,
Yes.
I have a warrant for your arrest.
Arrest for what?
Penal Code 243 violation. Unlawful termination of a pregnancy.
You gotta be kidding me.
That is my personal business.
That's for the courts to decide, ma'am. Your medical records have been subpoenaed, and Dr. Landry's already in custody.
No, my God, you can't just.
And you will have to submit to a physical examination.
What? By who?
No one's touching me.
Sir,
Why-
get that! Ma'am, Turn around.
Oh my God.
Put your hands behind your back. Now.
Why is this happening? Love you, honey bear.
We're just enforcing the law here.
Elections have consequences. Vote Democrat on November 8th. Stop Republicans from criminalizing abortion everywhere. Protect women's rights and freedom.
Please don't do this. Please.
Ironic there, because please don't do this. Please is probably what the baby would say if it could say anything before the abortion. Just sitting here with a take. I don't, like I said, I think that this is probably a better advertisement for anti-abortion laws out there than anything else. And so there we go. The lead police officer needs to work on his draw. It was terrible. Everybody needed to work on his acting, except for the baby. The baby was great. The baby did exactly what he was supposed to do. Be cute, be a baby. And the daughter, when she came in and says, "Why are you doing this? I don't understand." Well, your mom just killed a sibling, so. And this is after, supposedly, after the law had passed, and so I'm sure abortion rights are at risk in California. So Eric Swalwell is definitely fighting on the side for. Well, he's fighting on a side over there in California. So that was an advertisement I came across earlier today. Thought it was very tone deaf, but don't know. I don't live out there. He's not my representative, but I just thought that was odd that somebody has somebody takes exception for murdering somebody. Apparently that's not an arrestable offense, and people just don't understand. So, 'tis what it is. Fighting for China? Oh, he's definitely he's definitely sleeping with the Chinese government. He's in bed. You could say that he's in bed with the Chi-Coms. That would be our friend Eric Swalwell. And there we go. So, welcome to the program. This was not actually what we were going to talk about today. This is not what we're going to talk about. We were going to talk about David and Goliath, but thought that was a good intro into things. Some housekeeping. Bible Bashed, if you follow them on Twitter, Bible Bash got their YouTube channel either got a warning, it got a strike. They might be I don't know exactly if they were sent out, if they got put on timeout, but it sounded like they did for medical misinformation on YouTube. I offered to bring them on the show to talk about it. They are interested in doing so. They do follow me, which makes me feel important. They do follow me on Twitter, so we might get a guest at some point this week coming on and discussing what exactly happened on their show that got them a warning, and just talk about their show in general. I haven't caught it, but they do have some decent takes that I've run into. So here we are. There's no Nico tonight. We're gonna put a bolo out for Nico. He is usually always here at some point. I don't see any. He didn't chat. Not in the chat. Wild Weeb said he was be here. I see him online on the Discord, but not in the chat. It's okay. Because you guys are here, and you guys are enough. Porcupine is here. Blaine is here. Nernaeth is here. Fig is here. Good morning, Fig. Porcupine says, spent the day at the bus finishing subfloor, and I just received the solar panels. Solar panels. How is that going to work? That's a lot of extra. Isn't that a lot of extra weight? Porcupine. How much extra shocks are you going to have? How much are you increasing the weight on that bus with everything that you're doing? Are you having to upgrade the axles? Are you going to have to upgrade the suspension? I'm very interested in that. Nernaeth, advertisement. Blaine asked what an ad was. Nernaeth said advertisement. You youngsters and your abbreviations. Open the door. It's the police. What are you doing here? Have a warrant for your arrest. Let me see it and read it first. Oh yeah, all this is correct. What you could have done is been like, no, the baby's right over there. It's right over there at the table. It's right over there at the table. Eating. We were just talking about how cute they were. Nico's here. Hey, Nico. Put out a cat here. Your headband for Nico. Blaine says, Boomer doesn't know how cool modern solar panels are. Look, so I don't have a problem with solar. I just don't think it's as great as everybody makes it out to be, but I understand that it has its uses. And I don't know how much they weigh, how much solar panels weigh. And that's something that you always have to worry about when you're talking about retrofitting a vehicle is the weight on things. Like the weight of a pointless spoiler, Blaine, or body kit, or rear diffuser, or stickers that add horsepower. And I know I'll get a response out of that. He's typing away furiously right now. I'm sure of it. So, but hopefully you guys had a good day today. I did. Very productive. Always good to fun. Always good to have a productive day. Started a little bit later, but hey, all you guys y'all can get on me about being late. That's fine. But y'all were late getting here. Y'all were late getting here, and even I was late starting it. Because I'm sitting here setting up. I saw it, by the way, Blaine. I saw it. I was there when you did it. I was in your chat when you made that clip. Where are my... darn it. There it is. I need to charge these up. Weeb's here! Finally caught a stream. Hey! There we go. Nernaeth said it's at 30 to 35% efficiency. It is not competitive with coal until 40%, but then you have to solve the issue of recycling the heavy metals used in it. And Weeb is here. We got a full chat now, folks. And so let's get into it. So, fellas, since it's mostly fellas in the chat, any ladies listening, hello. Last night, we talked about David stepping into the scene as the new king of Israel, as God decided. But nobody really knows about it yet. Or at least it doesn't seem to. It seems that everybody knows that God is unhappy with Saul. But nobody knows that God has picked out and even had Samuel anoint the predecessor or the new king. So here we are. here we are. And as I was getting ready for tonight's stream, I noticed I thought I found a contradiction, or I was presented with what I thought might be a contradiction. And so I had to go do some research on it. So you guys tell me if you notice something that kind of is odd about this chapter versus the previous chapter. So, but what we have is Saul is being tormented by God. God has sent harassing creatures or a harassing creature of some sort to make Saul's life miserable. And David could plays a mean leer, and so they hired David to come in, or they went out and got David and brought him in to play the leer, not knowing that he's going to be the next king. But when he plays the leer, it soothes the spirits, and thus Saul has peace. And there we have, and this is where we'll pick up with chapter 17. Blaine says, all the new battery generators with solar tents are super lightweight and flexible. Full grid, good luck. Individual projects, hell yeah. Well, it's super lightweight. That still doesn't give me much to go by. Like super lightweight in comparison of what? No, Nernath, you're ahead. Yes, you were right. So before I even start, you're gonna go ahead and nail it. Spoil it for everybody else. Nernath says, is it Saul's seeming non-recognition of David, or is that in a later chapter? I'm a bit fuzzy. No, it's this chapter. And we'll get to there. And I'll talk about that once we kind of get to it. Dresden's here. Man, there we go. Now it's a party. Blaine says, think of a single layer of vinyl flooring. It's still got some weight to it. Depending on how much he's putting on. How much do you need? And that's another question. How much do you need as far as solar paneling? Are you putting it the length of the roof? Because that, like I said, that's got some weight to it. 1 foot by 4 foot can charge 600. Is this watt hours, or is that supposed to be 600 watt hours in 5 hours? Each panel weighs about 26 pounds. I have 6 total at 1,200 watts. There we go. There we go. 6 total. Yeah, I wanted it near Nath. I wanted to go immediately to kilowatt hours, but I was just like, wait a minute, trying to do some math in my head. All right. So that's basically a full-grown man's weight. But it's spread evenly, I guess, across that roof area. So. Blaine, that's awfully kind of you. Dresden, I've been all right. I hope you're doing well too. Won my first night in fantasy hockey, Dresden. And here we go. David and Goliath. 17. Now the Philistines gathered their forces for war and assembled at Soko in Judah. They pitched camp at Ephes Damim between Soko and Azekah. Saul and the Israelites assembled and camped in the valley of Elah and drew up their battle line to meet the Philistines. Epic. The Philistines occupied one hill and the Israelites another, with the valley in between them. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistine camp. His height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor of bronze weighing 5,000 shekels. On his leg, he wore bronze greaves, and a bronze javelin was slung on his back. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and its iron point weighed 600 shekels. His shield bearer went ahead of him. His hype man. That's what it is. At that point, that's your hype man. So let's put things into perspective. Goliath, height, weight, and armor. All right. Well, let me find something that breaks it down a little bit easier. Speaking of weight, 156 pounds is 10 pounds under what I weighed in at this morning. Skinny. Oh, just give me a daggone. Somewhere between 9'6" and 10'6". Dude is a monster. Here we go. Facts. There's facts and logic. Let's get this facts and logic going on. Goliath's armor weighed 125 pounds. Meh. That's really not as much as I thought it was. And he had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of mail. The coat weighed 5,000 shekels of bronze. For a 9-foot man, 125. Look, I walked when I was Blaine's weight. When I was Blaine's weight and at my current height, a 75-pound ruck wasn't easy to manage, but I could carry that for a while. And so you're adding a guy almost double my size and only adding an extra 50 pounds. That's probably not all that bad. I mean, that's still heavy, but dude's a monster. So Goliath, huge dude, right? Huge. Some might even say huge. And so here he is. Comes out, big bronze javelin. How big was the javelin? Weaver's beam. Let's see if I can get some stats on that Weaver's beam. Oh, man, yeah. Manufacturing at the time, it was probably insane. How big was Goliath's spear? Somebody's now here's where here's where it gets ridiculous. How big was Goliath's spear? So the estimate I'm reading right now, 12 feet long, 7 inches. So basically 12 and a half feet, a little over 12 and a half feet, 33 pounds, 12 ounces. That's the size of that's the weight of more than three fully developed babies that lady in the advertisement at the beginning of the show was being arrested for killing. So the shaft, 10 pounds, counterweight, 6 pounds. The head, the warhead, as I love to call it, 16 pounds, 11 ounces of just the head of the spear. Whee! Right, Nernath, those are pikemen, but the pikeman spears 16 to 20 feet, they're using it in a completely different capacity. This guy's carrying this spear around as a true melee weapon. He's not doing it for the way that pikemen are wearing. He's not in doing it the same way that pikemen are doing it. And maybe he is compensating, Blaine. We see where it get him. Hey, baby, you see the size of my spear? My man's got to be at least 9 feet. His spear's got to be at least 10 feet long. So that's the champion from the Philistines. Look, we're in the specifics, but even if we just want to generalize, man's a monster. Man's a monster. The dude is making Shaquille O'Neal look tiny. I always picture Princess Bride when I think of the story. That's a good one. My mom got me when I was a wee lad, and I still have it, an old children's book. When I say children, it just means it has a lot of pictures in it, and it breaks down the stories in more of a narrative style. But they don't sugarcoat so much the stories. But it's got a great picture of this just giant dude, Goliath, and he's just sitting out there challenging him. He's got his fist out like this, like, mm! This could be the Chad Goliath versus the Virgin David. And this meme doesn't hold up back then. And why? Here we go. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us." Then the Philistine said, "This day I defy the armies of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other." On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. A lot of times I picture, really, now that I've seen it, the opening scene of Troy, when Brad Pitt comes out as Achilles to go after that's the biggest Thessalonian I've ever seen. No one will remember your name. I always think about that. Now, David, on hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. Why? Who cares how tall this guy is? Because here's the thing. Even though he's a monster, you still have the Ark of the Covenant. Literal God mode sitting in your city, sitting in your nation. Just break it out. Break the game. Who cares how big he is? This is better than the gravity gun, getting the gravity gun in Half-Life 2. It will kill everything. So why are you dismayed and terrified? Be more like Jonathan. Dude, I'm gonna run at him. I'm gonna run at him. God will find a way to deliver me. But here we go. No, the Ark has come back. They did not lose the Ark this time. They have the Ark back. In fact, there was something when in a few chapters back, Nernath, they were talking about bringing the Ark with them, and Samuel was with it. Now, maybe they don't have the Ark with them because Samuel is not having it brought out because he has rebuked Saul. But again, this is a time for Saul to make amends, to change his ways, but he doesn't. And this is why that God isn't giving him any more chances, or God has moved on. God has moved on. Let's see. Now, David was the son of an Ephrathite named Jesse, who was from Bethlehem in Judah. Jesse had 8 sons, and in Saul's time, he was very old. Jesse's 3 oldest sons had followed Saul to the war. The firstborn was Eliab, the second Abinadab, and the third Shammah. David was the youngest. The 3 oldest followed Saul, but David went back and forth from Saul to tend his father's sheep at Bethlehem. Why did David go back and forth from Saul to tend his father's sheep? He's playing the harp, or the lyre. I'm sorry. He's playing the lyre. He's playing that secret chord to please the Lord. For 40 days, the Philistine came forward in every morning and every evening and took his stand. It's probably getting a little tiresome. And if I'm in the camp, I'm not really happy with Saul, because Saul hasn't come out. He's had 40 days to come out with a plan to get around this. Also, don't let your enemy dictate your terms. Do what you got to do. Now Jesse said to his son David, "Take this ephah of roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread for your brothers and hurry to their camp. Take along these 10 cheeses to the commanders of their unit. See how your brothers are and bring back some assurance from them. They are with Saul and all the men of Israel in the valley of Elah, fighting against the Philistines." How's it going, Neo? Have fun with the lady. Catch this episode on the replay. Early in the morning, David left the flock in the care of a shepherd, loaded up, and set out, as Jesse had directed. He reached the camp as the army was going out to its battle positions, shouting the war cry. Yeah, okay. Look, I've marched in formation. I've marched and understand esprit de corps, right? After 40 days of a single man who's very large coming out and challenging us, and we haven't done anything about it, I'm not shouting much of a war cry. I mean, day one, you're probably like, "Ah!" The war face, "Ah!" Now it's probably like, yeah, we're going out day 40. Day 40, wow. Israel and the Philistines were drawing up their lines, facing each other. David left his things with the keeper of supplies, ran to the battle lines, and asked his brothers how they were. As he was talking with them, Goliath, the Philistine champion from Gath, stepped out from his lines and shouted his usual defiance. And David heard it. Whenever the Israelites saw the man, they all fled from him with great fear. Look, it's probably like that scene at the beginning of Lord of the Rings with Sauron coming out, dwarfing everybody. Lord of the Rings, the movie. Where was I at? Oh, yeah. Whenever the Israelites saw the man, they all fled from him in great fear. Now, the Israelites had been saying, "Do you see how this man keeps coming out? He comes out to defy Israel. The king will give great wealth to the man who kills him. He will also give him his daughter in marriage and will accept his family from taxes in Israel." Hold up. You're going to stop stealing from me? Because we all know about taxation. Well, then. The true reason anybody's really interested in, look, lots of folks lots of kings will put up marriage to the daughter, great riches, and how often you hear a king so desperate he starts grabbing a tax-free life. Whoo! For the family. David asked the men standing near him, "What will be done for the man who kills this Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" Amen. Amen, David. David being based, asking these men what's wrong with them. They repeated to him what they had been saying and told him, "This is what will be done for the man who kills him." When Eliab, David's oldest brother, heard him speaking with the men, he burned with anger at him and asked, "Why have you come down here? And with whom did you leave those few sheep in the wilderness? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You came down only to watch the battle." Now, I wonder if he's speaking as a brother who's just concerned that his little brother is out in possible danger, or if he's just kind of an ass, or what. David says, "Now, what have I done?" said David. "Can I even speak?" He then turned away to someone else and brought up the same matter. He just turned his back on his brother, and the men answered him as before. What David said was overheard and reported to Saul, and Saul sent for him. David said to Saul, "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." Saul replied, "You are not able to go out against this Philistine and fight him. You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth." But David said to Saul, "Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it." Does sound kind of like a big fish story, but your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, because he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine. Look at this. David coming out. David has got great quotes, full of faith, full of fire, full of defense and of God, and being like, look, I've taken out lions, taken out bears, grabbed them by the hair, struck them down just to save my sheep. What's this guy? I was able to do that stuff with the power of the Lord. If I can do, look, he's channeling Philippians before Philippians is even written. To be pretty fair, he's got to be pretty jacked to kill lions. That's what I'm saying. Dude's probably in shape. But he's nowhere near. Saul's looking at this man, and maybe he recognizes him as his Lear player. Maybe he's just bitter right now. It doesn't matter. But what he's saying is, dude, you're just one guy. Who you and this guy's been fighting forever. David's like, so have I. Been fighting lions. You know who else fought lions? Samson. Samson fought lions. Saul said to David, "Go, and the Lord be with you." I wonder how if that was sarcastic or well-meaning or what. Well, who knows? Look, David may very well have a presence about him where he says, he's made an impact on Saul. Because Saul Saul dressed David in his own tunic. He put a coat of armor on him and a bronze helmet on his head. David fastened on his sword over the tunic and tried walking around because he was not used to them. Because you don't wear that stuff that's the other thing. He's not just killing lions. He's killing lions in shepherd's clothing, and the assumption is just, a staff or whatever. He doesn't have a sword with him to kill these lions. He's just got whatever shepherds are carrying out in the field, probably a staff. He beat this lion to death with a stick and a bear. So Porcupine said, "Have you ever heard the Malcolm Gladwell explanation, science of David versus Goliath? Interesting take on the physics of warfare." Let's see if I can parse it down, Porcupine. We're only doing one chapter tonight. I got time. I'm to make this work. do the plot summary. Their largest warrior to engage one-on-one. We'll get to this in a second. Let's finish up the Bible, the scripture account of David and Goliath. And then we'll come back. David fastened on his sword over the tunic and tried walking around because he was not used to them. I cannot go in these, he said to Saul, because I'm not used to them. So he took them off. All right, no, I'm not doing the armor. Then he took his staff in his hand, probably the staff he killed that lion and that bear in. Oh my. Chose 5 smooth stones from the stream, put them in the pouch of his shepherd's bag, and, with his sling in his hand, approached the Philistine. Meanwhile, the Philistine, with his shield bearer in front of him, kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was little more than a boy, glowing with health and handsome, and he despised him. This is like Pretty Boy, right? Goliath's huge, but he's probably like Sloth in the Goonies. He probably not like, so he sees David, good looking man, probably jacked like Nunez says. And he's not covered with armor, so you see the physique, right? You're seeing, dude, every day you can tell he does not miss leg day and he does not miss arm day. He's always working out. And so he's getting mad, right? Do the truffle shuffle. That's what he should have told David. Glowing with health and handsome, and he despised him. He said to David, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" And the Philistine cursed David by his gods, which doesn't mean anything because "Come here," he said, "and I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals." David said to the Philistine, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the Lord of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I'll strike you down and cut off your head. This very day I will give the carcasses of the Philistine army to the birds and the wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel." As a reminder, because it's been a while since, the plagues in Egypt and, the whole parting of the Red Sea. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands. Whoo. Again, man, dude, they said the Spirit of the Lord came on to David. It's showing right now. As the Philistine moved closer to attack him, David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet him. Reaching into his bag and taking out a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine on the forehead. The stone sank into his forehead, and he fell face down on the ground. Bit anticlimactic. Dude, one hit a quitter. Did not do well. The Chad Goliath. Reaching into his bag and taking out a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine on the forehead. The stone sank into his forehead, and he fell face down on the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone. Without a sword in his hand, he struck down the Philistine and killed him. Now, I've heard somebody, at least he lasted longer than Worski and others. There are some who said if David was truly a man of faith in God, he would have only taken 1 stone instead of 5. But my response to that is maybe he only took 1 stone for Goliath, and he took the others in case he get the more guys in the Philistine line rushed him, so he could swing those at him as he waited for backup. because you don't know how those folks are going to react. David ran and stood over him. He took hold of the Philistine's sword and drew it from the sheath. After he killed him, he cut off his head with the sword. That's funny because, let's see. What did he say? Didn't he say, "No, I'll strike you down and cut off your head. This very day I will give the carcass of the Philistine army to the birds and the wild animals." Here we go. When the Philistines saw that their hero was dead, they turned and ran, as one should. Then the men of Israel and Judah surged forward with a shout and pursued the Philistines to the entrance of Gath and to the gates of Ekron. Their dead were strewn along the Sharaim road to Gath and Ekron. When the Israelites returned from chasing the Philistines, they plundered their camp. Allowed to, because God didn't say not to. David took the Philistine's head and brought it to Jerusalem. He put the Philistine's weapons in his own tent. As Saul watched David going out to meet the Philistine, he said to Abner, commander of the army, "Abner, whose son is that young man?" Abner replied, "As surely as you live, your majesty, I don't know." The king said, "Find out whose son this young man is." As soon as David returned from killing the Philistine, Abner took him and brought him before Saul, with David still holding the Philistine's head. "Oh, hey, I was just carrying this head around of your biggest foe. What's up? What do you want?" "Whose son are you, young man?" Saul asked him. David said, "I am the son of your servant, Jethshi of Bethlehem, who," and he should have, what came afterwards, "who now doesn't owe you any more taxes." Yes, I am now thinking of David screaming at Goliath like Sam Hyde and Hassan Piker. Yes, I'm coming to kill you. Look, not only that, but Sam Hyde dressed up in that getup that he did that TED talk with, that did that TED talk troll with. Hold on, let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, oh damn, David talking to Goliath, telling him he's gonna have his head. That's how it started. That's how it started. And hold on. Oh, so many. Why isn't there a good screenshot of this available? I got so many memes on my phone. You mean there's no results? Here we go. I'm just gonna do it this way. I'll do what I want. I'll make it happen. Why is it? Why is this such a deal? Come on, guys. Here we go. I hate the dead air, but now that I want to do it.
You got anyone you want to call out in the heavyweight division?
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that, Hassan Piker. I'm coming to kill you in Los Angeles at your house.
Or in the ring?
No, in real life. I'm going to stalk him and become obsessed with him and wear his makeup and his dresses and use his skin as a coat like the ancient Irish did.
Well, that's your winner, Sam Hyde!
Bloody.
Oh man. Oh man. No, I did not know that Sam Hyde was standing next to an astronaut. Oh man. Astronaut. Assuming there's some place to go past the dome. All right, so let's get into this Gladwell, Malcolm Gladwell. Begins by recounting the Battle of Goliath. Neither army wants to advance for fear of rendering themselves vulnerable, so the Philistines send Goliath, their largest warrior, to engage one-on-one combat. First, none of the Israelites want to face Goliath because he's so large, but then a small shepherd boy named David volunteers. King Saul tries to dissuade David, but he eventually agrees to send him because no one else will go. David runs into the valley carrying nothing but his staff and several smooth stones, which he puts in a sling and sends hurtling through the air. We all know this, blah, blah, blah. There we go. Gladwell argues that this story is informative because it not only demonstrates that underdogs can beat giants, but that the very qualities that make a person powerful are often the qualities that lead to their defeat. Conversely, some disadvantages can actually become beneficial. To illustrate this, he notes that Goliath fails because he's too large to react to David's projectile. First off, that's terrible to assume that's just because someone's large that they aren't fast. Or fast with reflexes. Offensive linemen in football are big. They're also much more athletic than you think. They're much more athletic than most people you know. They're just not as mobile or fast as some of these guys who are playing wide receiver or running back, or better, just large guys like defense, especially edge rushers in football, defensive ends, very fast, very big. That's terrible to think that he, just because he's big, he can't react to David's projectile. This is actually, I actually don't like this. It's an interesting thought from Gladwell, but it's not. He's relying on something. Just because he's smaller, he's faster. Or just because Goliath is big means he's slow. It's definitely not. It's definitely not always a part of reality. 9 feet. Look, you're 9-10 feet tall, and you're making strides towards the center of the battlefield. You're moving at a pretty brisk pace. You might be loping. You might look like a goober, but what do you mean, big guy cope? This isn't big guy cope. This is a reality to things. Big guys can be fast too. I'm not. If you've ever watched me run the bases in softball, you know I'm 6'2". I'm 6'2", 230. I'm not fast though. I swing that bat pretty fast though. But I'm also not. I mean, when you're so big that you're 9 to 10 feet tall, just the simple act of you making a stride, you're covering a ridiculous amount of ground. And if you're strong enough that you're carrying, that you're able to carry all this around. Sounds like Fatty Cope. I've never seen a big guy move faster than a train small guy. I have. I definitely have. I saw, look. Okay. We're going to be just doing this. My man, one of my favorite football players of all time, Patrick Willis, 6'1", 240. Middle linebacker for the 49ers back in the day. They're faster than an offensive lineman, and they're not always smaller. Some of those wide receivers are tall. Do you know how Sir Isaac Newton died, Blaine? This is my show. We're going to watch whatever the heck I want to watch. Flexing them muscles. That guy's not slow at all, Blaine. That dude is a monster. And he only got bigger and faster when he got to the NFL. Here, got a good one. This is Patrick Willis versus a Heisman Trophy winning running back. He went all the way across. He went a sideline to sideline, stride for stride with Reggie Bush, a smaller guy, a running back who won the Heisman Trophy and still had time to plant. Yeah, you know what downshifting is? Just going to lay down. Just going to lay down with this guy. This is, you know what this is? You know what this is? This is little guy Cope. This is little guy Cope. Led with his helmet. Look, Blaine, car guy to car guy. You know, power to weight. It's all about power to weight ratio. If you've got enough power to make up for that weight, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Nobody is saying that. Look, nobody's saying that David is small by any means. Nobody's saying that he's short. They're saying he's a kid. He looks like a kid. He's probably like a teenager. He's probably like a late teenager, maybe. That's right. You got bigger muscles. And guess who's got bigger muscles than David? Goliath. David's the size of one of his legs. all of David's muscles can be contained in one of the muscles or one of the legs of Goliath. Right? Right? He's got the horses. He's got the horses. Just saying. I'm just saying. And just because you're bigger doesn't mean you're slower. Could have been 20s. It could have been 20s. And they said that Jesse was an old man. But they kind of look at him as a kid. So I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know how old Saul is this. You know, I assume I don't know how long he's been reigning. But what I do know is Blaine's wrong. Blaine is wrong. And this is we're past the point of the argument. Past the point of the argument. Malcolm's point was that because Goliath was big, that he wasn't fast enough for the projectile. Distance is an attack vector. You know what helps with distance? When God is on my side. No, y'all are getting. We're way past the point. We're just arguing dumb stuff right now. Goliath can't dodge God. That rock, David doesn't kill Goliath with that rock. God kills Goliath with that rock. You can call it, maybe you could say just God accelerate, put some extra force in David's arm. That God just struck Goliath down at the same time. You can say that God played Final Destination with it, and it just happened to hit the right spot or whatever. Or, hear me out, Goliath didn't think a rock was going to hurt him. Arguing the dumb stuff is the name of my channel. I know. I don't mind doing this. This is great. This is a great discussion. This is a great discussion because it doesn't matter. Goliath's still dead. The rock wouldn't exist without God making the rock. So. Oh, man. So. All right, so let's get to the last part. Let's get to the last part of tonight's show. It's what some people identify as a contradiction in the Bible, because we read that David is in the service of Saul as his lyre player. And then Saul kind of here at the end doesn't really seem to recognize him. Because we see it here. Let me get back to Sharon. And I was expecting Nico to bring this up, but he's been kind of quiet in this chat. Did he leave? Did I miss something? Nico, where you been? He was here for a howdy. That's all we've seen so far. Anyway, I thought Nico, because Nico's usually good at asking questions, right? I like the questions he asks, because they're very honest, right? As you go through there, and it's one that I noticed myself. Why is it like this? So, Nernaeth, are you a lobster? Are you saying that you're a lobster? What David said was overheard and reported to Saul. Saul sent for him. You were only a young man and he has been a great warrior from his youth. Blah, blah, blah. There's nothing really at this point that shows you that Saul doesn't know who David is. Right? But there's lots of keys in here that shows that David is already in the service of Saul. So we already know that because we've got David went back and forth from Saul to tend his father's sheep at Bethlehem. So going out to Saul to help soothe him, goes back and does. Man's working 2 jobs, man. He's got that Protestant work ethic. I wish I had a Catholic on the show. Got that Protestant work ethic. Going out, playing for Saul, go back and tend the sheep, come back out, play for Saul, blah, blah, blah. So he's bowing back and forth in there. Otherwise, he might not be doing any of this. So, so he's going out. So Saul at least knows enough to talk to him too. And then, Saul puts him in his, your servant has been keeping his father's sheep, puts him in his best clothes. And, but down here, it was like, the real part is down here. As Saul watched David going out to meet the Philistine, he said to Abner, "Whose son is that young man? As surely as you live, your majesty, I don't know." He just doesn't remember. And he's not concerned with the help, which is all David is at that point. He doesn't care that David is there playing the lyre. He just cares that the lyre is doing what it needs to do. David is probably mostly part of the scenery. He's not a person that Saul really cares about. So Blaine says he plays the lyre when the king is tormented by poop demons. Of course he doesn't remember there. Also, how many times has someone said a person you know is doing something and you ask, yeah, right now, David's a literal who? That Omega grind set. That Alpha and Omega grind set. There we go. So if you're worried about a contradiction right there, it's very easily solved if you just look at the text. It's very clear from chapter 16 to 17 that David is already in the service of Saul in some capacity. And that Saul, not that Saul's, who is this man? I've never seen him before. He doesn't say any of that. All it shows is that he doesn't know much about him, which is perfectly understandable. So there you go. There you go. All right. So that's one chapter, one big chapter. This is right there. This is a big deal in the Bible. It's right there with the parting of the Red Sea, the Moses on Sinai, as far as the Noah's Ark and the flood, Adam and Eve, and the serpent. And there you go. Fig with Goliath. Fig, get your tail in the Discord. Get your tail in the Discord. So there we go. What a great episode this has been. Lots of folks here, and now we're gonna get into more. So now, look, if Saul was jealous about how popular his own son was, how jealous do you think Saul's going to be about how popular David, someone who he doesn't know all that well, killing Goliath, a man who has been tormenting the Israelites for 40 days and basically unmanning Saul every single day he goes out there and challenges them, and they all run away in fear because the man's a total unit. But this young whippersnapper comes up and with a single stone from his sling ends it. No armor, goes into battle. No armor. No sword, no spear, nothing. Just a sling, a rock, and his staff that he used to beat up lions and bears. There we go. Nico, where have you been? We've been talking about you. Fig, get in that Discord, Fig. Get in that Discord right now. Goliath down. You looketh tired. He's saying it in the. That's what we should do. We should do another episode with it done in King James. The King James version. Let's get this one down. Hold on. Let's do the original King James, not the new King James. I say it, the original King. Oh, and David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. Let's see. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy and of fair countenance. David said to the Philistine, come, thou comest to me with a sword and with a spear and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. This day the Lord will deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee and take thine head from thee, and I will give thee carcass of the host of the Philistines this day to the fowls of the air and to the wild beasts of the earth, and all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. Look, sometimes reading the King James is awesome. I had to do a separate part where I just read King James on cool chapters like that. But we're going back to the Niv. Nico shows up, then disappears, then returns, and he's gone, says Fig. Nico says, I'm still here, lol, Fig. You have to join Stuart's Locals to get to Discord. It's a grift he's doing. It's not really so, well, it's kind of a grift. No, Fig is sending Discord chats in another group, and he should be in this group. Explain the concupiscence. Oh, shoot. I don't know how to say that. Superfluity of the naughtiness, Stuart. No. Anyway, so spoiler. So as a bit of surprise, an unexpected turn of events, David defeats Goliath, and we were all shocked. We're all doing this, the face, the Joe Rogan face at the end. So with that said, guys, great having you all come out. Glad as usual that you guys are coming out here for these episodes with me and that we can talk about these things. And Stuart being an Israelite and trying to get me to buy his locals. I did not. No. No, Fig. I said sign up for locals. I have specifically told people not to support me on locals. Okay. Do not. I don't want money out of this, but I do want the locals because I want to make it. I just want to set that up because I think if it gets big, if this channel ever gets big, the locals is going to be the best place to divert the people who want to be part of it, and it'll be easier to manage it versus the Discord, right? So. And yes, I do. Yeah, Nico, he does do that. I mean, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not that professional. But no, I'm not trying to get you to buy my locals. I'm just asking you to sign up for it, not to support it in a financial aspect. And I think, yeah, that makes sense too, because it's an hour and a half, hour and a quarter, an hour long stream. A lot of times it is probably once it's processing. It's a YouTube problem. It's not really all that big of a problem because whatever. You know what's going on. So, with that said, everybody, Nico, Nernath, Fig, Blaine, Porcupine, Neo, I know you're gone, but still, Dresden, Wild Weeb making his way back again. Glad to have you here, Wild Weeb. Yeah. Glad you came out, all of you. Glad to be part of this stream. Glad for all of y'all's input. Glad for everything y'all say. It's great. It's great. Nernath, learn how to say okay. Or live react to Sabaton. Can I even do that? I don't know. I'm worried I'll get a channel strike or something like that for copyright infringement or whatever. So because I'm not going to be doing that, you guys, I'll be practicing how to say that word. You guys have a very good evening. So, good night and God bless.